Okay, this is a CLAT Consortium sample test which they posted on the 27th of May, which is today, in fact. And this is on quantitative techniques. And this one question set is crazy. I mean, the first impression that you get after seeing the question is that why? Why? Why would you ask this question, and what is actually being tested here? So these are all this is kind of that's a feeling that I got. I'm sure that that's a feeling that maybe you also would have got, is that so far we have seen questions that is coming in the sample test, paper number 1, paper number 2, paper number 3. Those are all reasonably fair question. This is, I don't know what this is. Just doesn't make any sense, right? To ask someone, prospective lawyers, they need to have these level of understanding. It's probably, if there was a question which says something that is, maybe a couple of questions were okay, but maybe these two are fine. But this is like, that's crazy. To even look at this question, there are, you just have to understand this really well and see what that is. That is just doesn't make any sense. And even this was okay. I think this question was okay. This question 1.2 was pretty okay, and maybe 1.1 is also decently okay. But there's 1.3, 1.5. I have no idea. Probably you will have an idea. Since anyways, since the question is given to us, let's might as well solve it. So a lot of people have asked me that to solve this question. So let me give it a shot here. So what we have here is the diagram below. You say the diagram and the table below represent the design and materials needed to construct a garden bench. Use information provided to answer the question that follow. Any additional information you need to answer a question will be provided along with the question. So okay, so you have a diagram. This is not that difficult to kind of understand. So we have a main diagram. I think that this would be the main diagram, and a few details is mentioned here. A few detail and some more detail, and something specific is mentioned here regarding this mortises. That's what is mentioned there. So for example, this is a detail in the sense that I can see an arm one here, and there's an arm layout, and there's a side view, top view of that particular layout. That is what is given. So basically these are all these pieces. You could probably see that so there is this one, maybe about something here, two, something happening there. There is three, there is four, there is five, there is six. About a lot of pieces are getting added, connected to create this bench. So let's continue and see what more information is given to us. This one, let me just, okay, this one say mortise is a hole or recess cut into a part designed to receive a corresponding projection. So mortise is a hole. Basically, mortise is essentially what he's saying. The mortise is a hole or recess cut into a part designed to receive a corresponding projection at tenon or on another part, so as to join or lock the parts together. So that is a mortise, and tenon is a projecting piece of wood made for insertion into a mortise into another piece. So you need to understand basically what is a mortise and a tenon, and that's kind of easy to understand. If I look at the mortise, this is so let me just push this, okay, like that. Okay, so you can see that this particular portion here is what a mortise is. That's a hole, and the tenon is the one. So okay, this particular part is a tenon, and that particular part is a mortise. So the tenon is fixed into the mortise, so that these two pieces can be fixed together. So one way of looking at it is, if you have a tenon here, obviously you correspondingly you probably will find uh, uh, what is called mortise there. So that is actually back behind it. So that should be behind, not visible to us. So you can have that there is a tenon here. Obviously, corresponding you will find that motive there. There we can see there is one more tenon here. The corresponding we can find that motive there. So mortise there. So this will have three, and kind of I think this you can see, couple of them actually can see here. So this one, these two are same, right? So this one you can see there, that is one. For this particular tenon, there should be a hole that should be there. So that's what it is. So that's the whole idea of this tenon motor. And this, some of the dimensions of the motor is given here. A little bit detailed stuff is given. Okay, so that's fine. So that's basically our motives and tenon. And then it says that the slats for the seats and back, slats for the seats are fixed in a single groove and not mortises. So slats for the seats does not have mortises. So we have to understand, this is the slats, this is the back slats. So this is not. So basically, there, while there's a tenon here, So these are not mortises because he's saying that this one single groove. That's what he's saying, that that is not counted as a mortises. So we have that is not founded as a mortise. So the so that is not a mortise. Mortise even that is uh, in top part. This is a groove, that is not a mortise. Mortise is just a small hole that is put. So that's fine. So that's that. Okay, let's look at the table below. Displays the quantity and dimensions of the pieces of wood from which the parts of garden bench were shaped. Right, great. And we have the quantity, and so basically there are these quantity 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 of them, 13 of them here. And then for example the legs here, there are two quantity. The thickness is given, which is probably what this inches, is it? Measurement inches, 2 width and 34 and a half length. And there are some more information that is still there. For example, there is some number 1, number 2, number 3, which actually gives additional piece of information. Includes 1 inch extra for a tenon, 7.5 inch tenon. So 1 inch extra for a tenon. That means, for example, the legs in the front. Let's have a look at what that means. Legs in the front. So legs in the front. So this front length. Okay, so okay. So that therefore this whole distance from here has got this a tenon here. Tenon here. That's what that means. So that means that this includes 1 inch extra for a tenon. One and a half. So this 24 and a half has got that 1 inch extra for the terrain. So which means that if you look at we could look at this, that what says that this particular thing is 1 inch, and the remaining would be 23 and a half inch. So that's what that means. Okay, so that's how we interpret each of those, those piece of information that is given to us there. Okay, okay, and so on and so forth. We'll figure that out. Let's look at these questions one by one. How many mortises have to be cut to assemble the garden bench in the manner shown in the diagram? So we have this 21, 31, 41, 15. This is about counting them. I'm sure that this you could probably do it systematically. Maybe even simply count it. So we just have to count the number of holes that are there. Right. So that's what it is. So since answer choices is kind of spread apart, maybe you can just count. Even if you missed by one or two here and there, it wouldn't matter, because from 21 next is 31. I'm sure that we will not miss 10 of them, right? Even if we miss one of them, if we end up getting something like a 20 and we miss one of them, we know for sure that obviously my answer is not going to go to 31. We probably can eliminate all those things. So a rough counting is fine. So I have to count the mortises. So let me just get this one less. Okay, that was uh, so there are a couple of ways to actually do it. One way to actually kind of look at this is uh, look at all the pieces where it has mortises. Okay, for example, first of all, if you look at the pieces where it has, this one obviously does not have any because it is already told that the one single groove. This one does not have any. We can look at this one, seems to have something. Okay. And so on and so forth. Let's just count how many mortises that we can actually see here. Okay, so one in this case is that you have this. I'm just putting in green. So we have this 1, 2, and 3, which is actually visible. Okay, which is actually visible, and then obviously this one obviously require that tenon actually requires one more mortises. That's a 4 there, and there is this tenon here which also requires one more mortise. That's a 5. That's actually the 5 that you can actually see here as well. So this is that real leg piece. Okay, so you can see 1 2 3, that is this view, the front view, and the side view is this 4 and 5. That's the side view, which is something that is not visible there. For those two tenons, that is 4 and 5. Basically we can count that to be equal to 5. And so long as we understand this things that are not visible to me, I'm just going to just look at, if I see if I see a tenon, I see that I basically will to make this inference that I will need a corresponding mortise. A tenant requires a corresponding mortise for this to go. So this I can see a count of 5 there. Oops. Uh, okay, my pen is not selling. Okay, what happened there? Okay, let me just try once again. Oops. I okay, now it's working. Oh, I don't know what happened there. Okay, there is 5 that is required for. Let's take this once. Let me just try once again with the. Okay, great. There's the 5 that is required there. So my pen was not working there. So we have 5 there. Okay, we just counted 5. So those 5 again is that 1 2 3, and the one there is 4. So let me pick another color. So let's start once again actually. There. Okay, let me just count. We have one, two, three that is visible, and there is this particular tenant, that particular tenant needs to have a corresponding motive, so we'll have a 4 and a 5, like how we can see that 4 and a half 5 is there, and 1 2 3 is visible there. Okay, that is fine. So this has a 5. Similarly, I'm sure that this will also have a 5, which is that is the same thing. That is 1 here, 2 here. I think all these are visible here, 3 4 and 5. So that's 5 and 5, and I can see a couple of them here. That's a 2 that I can see here, and then the this leg. Okay, so this and this would be the same thing. We can count that there. So basically, this will require this tenon will require a motive. Mortise. This tenon will require a motive. This tenon will require a motive. So mortise. Sorry, what I'm saying. So 1 here, 2 here, and 3 here. I'm sure that that is the same case here. We can see 1 here, which is visible, and this tenon will require a motive there. This tenon will require a motive there. So which means there is 3 there and 3 there. So here I can see a 3, and this will be another 3 there. That's the case. We can we will probably look at this one there, which is for this particular tenant. So I can see that one being there for this particular fellow, and that's everything. And there's arm. So arm. So there is this tenon, which means the arm required one. But this will be a mortise that is there one. In fact, there should be one of the things is that if you count here, one of the, if you count the one that is kind of visible. So let me actually put this. Okay, count that is what 5. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Actually, it should be 21 because there is one arm here. Other arms should be here as well, which is kind of not drawn. You actually see this picture. There are two arms, correct? Two arms. So actually, one arm is there and one arm should be there. But you got to a point of 20, though that will give an additional one. That is 21. So it is total 21 should be the answer. Please be these does not is not a motive because all this he said is one group, which was actually mentioned here somewhere here. That was one group. Yeah, the slat, the slat for the seat and the back are fixed in a single groove and not mortises. So therefore, 21 is answer to that question. Interestingly. Okay, that's it count. 21 is a count. Okay, so this is probably maybe you could have solved. You can probably count it and then solve. For which part of the bench is the ratio of mortises and the tenons is 1:1, and this is pretty easy to see. If you look at everything, you see that the arms has got equal number of mortises and tenons. So if you look at the arm, I can see I already told the there should be a for there should be a what is a mortise there, and I can see a tenon which is there. So 1:1. It has got equal number. Is there a picture of arm somewhere? Nah. Yeah, equal number. Rest everything does not have. For example, this fellow here, I don't know what is called. What is called front rail has got two tenon and got one motive, one mortise. This has got 1:1, so that will be arm. So that question is also probably okay to look at. Okay to look at. That is that question. Let's have a look at 1.3, and this is probably very painful one to see. Okay, even the calculation is painful. Let's understand what that is. I probably will have to clear this one, erase this part. Okay, maybe push it by the side just to get understanding. I may have to do some working there. I have to keep coming back here. It says what is the length of each filler strip. So we have to now look at the length of the filler strip. So if you look at the filler strip here, if you look at the filler strip here is what is given in this particular case is that some data about filler strip is here, and it said it's the length is cut to suit spacing. So we have cut to suit spacing. So length is the not a standardized dimension. It's basically to suit the spacing. We have to now look at length of each filler strip. So we have to look at length of each of them. There are 28 of them. You have to not asking the total length, but length of each one of them. Okay. So now you have to gather and understand where is the filler strip. Now you see in this picture here. So if I magnify it one small, and if you see this picture here, and these are the filler strips. So these one are the filler strip. So you can see there is something that has been put. So this whole backslat continues. So this continues like this till the very end. So this filler strip is actually that's the small piece that is kept in between two of them. Okay, so you can see one in the bottom. We also can see one on top, right? One in the bottom and one on top. So one way to look at it is that we have got I believe we have got a total of 28 filler strips, 28 filler strips. So there from which we can understand bottom we will have 14 of them, Yeah, and the top will have 14 of them. So bottom there are 14 filler strips, 14 filler strip ऐसा, and the top will have this 14 filler strip. We have to look at the length of the filler strip. So when you want to look at the length of the filler strip, one thing that you need to kind of look at is that I need to look at if I can get a sense of the length of this. Correct. The this length here. So filler strip actually kept from what is the filler strip is actually kept from here to here, right? That's where I think that a few portion is taken by this fellow, which is the back slat. Back slat. So let me pick another color here. So this is, let's say, red color. Back slat takes a few portion, and we'll have a filler strip, and then there is a back slat, and there's a filler strip. So so what we can do is that if I look at, I think there's some maths we can work out. We have to look at the number of backslats, the length of each of them. So if I can understand the length of each of these backslat and number of each of these backslat, that length we can find out and subtract it from this one. I think the math should work. The math should work. I'm sure that you're able to get a sense of what is happening. And we have got this backslat. So this is the length. So length. So that is this length. Backslat this length. So we are interested in this one, which will be the width. Which will be the width, right? So we are interested in that. The width of those is given us. The width of those is given us. Where is it? So sorry. Backslat is the length is here. Length is at 14 and a half. That's the length. Sorry. Backslat is that figure. Right? 14 and a half the length. So 14 and a half is this particular length. That is 14 and a half. That's what that means. But we are interested in the width. Width is 1.25. That's a width. 1.25. Okay. So each of them is 1.25, right? So I'm sure that we can do some working there. So that maths is fine. So basic maths is there. So it's not a difficult maths to do. We'll have to probably look at more this one. Okay. Okay. Filler strips are only filled between the two backslats and not between a backslat and a rear leg. So that means what that essentially means is this one. So you have this leg here, right? So you have the leg that is here. So you have the leg that is here. Okay, and you have got another leg that is there. Okay, those are the two legs. Let me say this is leg and that leg, and there is this what is this fellow called back rail. So back rail is kept like this. Back rail is kept like this. Okay, that's a back rail, and you have this back the slats. Back slat is kept like this. 15 of them. One, two, three, and so on and so forth. There are 15 of them that is kept like that. And what is given is that between each of them we have this filler strip. So I'm going to put another color for the filler strip. There is a filler strip number one, filler strip number two, so on and so forth. 14 is down and 14 on top. Basically that thing there, this here there is no filler strip. That is what he's saying. Here there is no filler strip between this one and the first one. There is no filler strip. Filler strip is only here. So between the leg and the backslat there is no filler strip is what is being mentioned there. That's what that guy is saying. Okay. Assume the gap between each rear leg and adjoining backslat is the same length as the filler strip. Okay, now that means the gap between each of the rear leg and the adjoining backslat. So basically, what he's saying there is that gap which is not filled with it, you assume that it is the same length of the filler length. So basically, make that assumption the length is the same. So even if there is no filler strip, so basically what he's saying the length is the same. So if I have to draw this diagram slightly better. What we can see is that we have got the two legs that is there. Okay, and we have what is that thing called here? Back rail. Okay, this is what that's called the back rail. Okay, let's look at the back rail. The back rail is kept in this particular fashion. Back rail is kept in this particular fashion, and we have this backslats, which is let me put in red in color. So there is a backslat number one, backslat number two, backslat number three, backslat number four, and so on and so forth. And we have the 15th one here. So there are, please understand, backslat, the total number of quantity is 15. Okay. 15 of them is put, 15 of them is, this is the first guy, second guy, third guy, 15 of them. And between each of them, we have this filler strip. So filler strip, I'm going to put in green color. So there's one here, there is two there, and so on and so forth. We have the 14th one there. That's what is mentioned. That's the 14th one there. That's the 14th one. That's number one. That is number two. That is 14. Please understand the total there is given as total here is given as 28. 28 means there are 14 on bottom and 14 on top. So we just have to look at the bottom one. There are 14 on them. So what that piece of information is that please treat this, the length of this, as the same length of the filler strip. Okay, so basically the length of that is same length of filler strip. So in one sense, I can actually count and say because this length is same as this length, and I just want to find out the length of each of the filler strip. What now going to count is I'm going to count as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15, and 16. I'm just going to count like that because even if there's no filler strip kept there, what is given here is that this length and this length is one and the same. Okay, so that's what it is, and we have okay. So now let's look at which now to find out answer to the length, we just need to get this length, this hero. That is our what is the name of that fellow? Again, I'm so forgetting what is the name of that guy. Back rail. Let's look at the length of the back rail. Okay, length of the back rail length, rail back. 48 and a half 48 and a half, and this number 2 is given, that is saying that extra 2 inch for the tenons. There are 2 inch for the tenants. So 48 and a half, 14 and the extra 2 inch for the tenants. Please understand the tenon is gone inside, right? The tenon is actually gone inside this particular block. This tenon is gone inside this particular block. This particular fellow, this fellow. So there is extra 2 inch for that. So basically 48 and a half include the two tenant, which means if you minus that, this will be 46 and a half. Correct? 48 and a half, 40 and a half minus the two extra for tenant. This is 46 and a half. I think that now at this point in time, you can kind of figure out anything. Each of these guys length is how much. Each of these guys length is how much. Each of these guys width is how much. One and a half, one and a half, one and quarter. Sorry, each of these guys width is one and quarter. There are 15 of them, and subtract. So let's look at all these. So which means let's do all these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 16 together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 4, so forth. The 16 of them together. Plus apna these heroes. 15 of them. 1, 2, 3, 5, 5. There are 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth. There's 15 of them. That is a total length which we can see here as this, which is 46.5. And now this 46.5 is a combination of all the greens together. There are 16 of them and all of these together. Basically, this length is what 15 times 15 times 1.1 and 1/4, 1 and 1/4. You can look at 15 multiplied by what is it? 5, 6 by 4. So that will be 15 into for 5 by 4, 15 to 5 by 4. I'm saying 15 to 5 by 4, 15 into 5 is equal to 75. That's about 75 by 4. If you do 75 by 4, that will be 18.75. Okay, so this particular distance is 18.75. If this is 18.75, the entire 16 of them together would be 46.5 minus 18.75. That comes out to be 27.75. There are 16 of those guys. 27.75 divided by 16. 27.75, 16 to 1 is 16. 16 into 2 is 16 into 2 is 16 into 2 is how much? 16 into 2 is 16 into 2 is 32. This is basically between 1 inch and 2 inch. Each of them will be between 1 inch and 2 inch, and that should be good enough to answer that question. Which is 1 inch and 2 inch. Okay, okay. So you'll have to exactly find out what that value is. Chalo, okay. This is very crazy. 27. If you actually do the maths here, 27.75 divided by 16 turns out to be 1.73. Each of them is 1.73. That is a length. This is crazy question, right? This is damn crazy question. 1.73. I'm sure that in examination somebody gives me the question, I am to leaving. I hope I took a lot of time trying to explain what that hell is. I hope you made sense. Anna, I hope it is. I have no idea. I'm just hoping it made sense to you. What is the volume of the wood required for all the filler strips? So now we have got the information from here. So we have got that value, all the filler strips. So that is basically doing that math. There are 20 of them. The length is 5 by 16 multiplied by the width is 5 by 8, and this is roughly 1.73. And this is the maths that we have to do. 28 into 5 by 16 into 5 by 8 into 1.73. If we eventually do the maths, I think it will be slightly less than 10 inch. It should be less than 10. Hana, should be. Yeah. Exactly want to find out. I think doing the maths itself is very painful that you do it on your own. But I'm sure that divided by 16 divided by 8 apparently into 1.73 turns out to be 9.46 or something like that. Okay, so that's what that is. So that is therefore less than 10. Okay, let's look at here. This also, I think that I don't know why they had to give this 95, 96, 97. They should have probably made it. This is actually not very difficult. Before the center bracket was shaped, where is the center bracket? The center bracket is, where is our center bracket, ladies and gentlemen? The center bracket is this guy. Center bracket is this guy, Hana. Center bracket is that fellow, which has got these two things. So center bracket is that guy. Before the center bracket, the mortises were cut. What percentage of the volume of wood of the center bracket remained after the mortises were cut? So basically, that the center bracket was looking something like that, and two mortises were cut. So basically, initial volume, and we have to look at the volume of these mortises. We can look at the initial volume of what is the center bracket, which is this. Correct. So that will be what? So let's do that. 10 into 1 and 1 by 4, then 3 and 1, 3 and quarter. 10 into 1 and 1 by 4 multiplied by 3 and quarters. That is the total volume of this guy. So that turns out to be, I think, very close to 40 approximately. I think 10 into 10 into 1.25 multiplied by 3.25 turn out to be 40.625. That's the total volume, right? 40.65, approximately 40. You can also do it by 10 into 5 by 4 multiply by 13 by 4 and probably cut and do everything. So eventually very close to 40. Let's take about close to 40. That is good enough for us. Approximately 40. And we have to look at the volume of these mortises. Okay, volume of the mortises. And to the dimension of the mortises, we can actually find here the dimension of the mortises is here, which is the half multiplied by 1/4 multiplied by 1/4. Okay, but there are two of them. So multiply this by 2. Eventually, the volume of the mortises is 1/4 multiplied by 1/4, which is 5 by 4 multiplied by 5 by 4, 25 divided by 16, which will be roughly how much? That's about 1.5 ish. Okay, approximately 1.5. 25 divided by 4. So the volume of the mortise is 1.5. Volume of the mortise is 1.5, and this volume we can probably approximate it to 40.5 ish. Okay, the total is 40.5. Okay, so I'm just taking approximate value. Where this is the question is asking, this is mortises, this is a total volume. Once you cut the mortises, what remains will be 40.5 minus 1.5. So that is what that is 40.5 minus 1.5. That'll be approximately 39. 39 divided by 40.5. That is what is 39 divided by 40.5 would be approximately about 96%, 96.2 or 97 percentage. So the 96.2. I think that there will be, it will be between 96 and 97 percentage. Okay, that's crazy, no? I think that was very crazy. I think for me to exactly figure out whether it's 97, 90 is 97, I have to exactly find out the value. Exactly find the value in the sense that this is 40.625, this is 40.625. The other fellow exact value is how much? This is 25 by 16. 1.5625. That's exact value of that fellow. 1.5625. 1.5625. So 1.5625 minus 40.625. That's the maths that I have to do. Okay, and then you have to get to 96 percentage and 97 percentage. Crazy. And whoever said this paper, I think that I hope that person is not setting the actual CLAT. I'm sure that you guys can actually tell the CLAT authority and what are you actually testing with this question. I think this is a bad question kind of set. 96.1. This is actually 96.15. And the question is asking, is it less than 95? It is between 96 and 97. Is it between 95 and 96? What kind of a question is this? Okay. I think that in this case, this was a sensible question to ask. This was easy to look at, but the options are crazy. Uh okay, and then there is a crazy question to ask. Anyways, there you have it. That's how we solve this one. If at all you want to solve. I give up, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Bye.